Welcome to Sneak Speak.
Sneak Speak. Sneak Speak.
Sneak Speak.
Sneak Speak.
Sneak Speak.
Sneak Speak. Sneak Speak.
You're listening to Sneak Speak by Eminem Resell.
Welcome to Sneak Speak, the podcast where we dive into the shoe game, bring you insight on the hottest upcoming releases, and the latest on controversies in the sneaker world. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Sneak Speak. This is episode 2 of season 2. It is November 16th, and I am so very excited to be back again. It's me, Mateo.
What's up, guys? It's me, Manib.
And we have brought in a very special guest all the way from Minnesota. Another fellow Instagram reseller, specializes in Supreme tees and other tees, not so much shoes, which is something different that I'm really looking forward to talking to him about. But I'll let him talk himself up. Zachary Lanz.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm from Minnesota. I'm 20 years old. Going to a community college right outside the Twin Cities. My main Instagram reselling is at MNHypebeast, and I've just recently started Minnesota's Closet with my girlfriend. And that's just basically an account where we're going thrift shopping, Goodwill, Savers, hitting all those stores up, seeing what they have vintage-wise, and just anything in general. And we're just trying to flip it for a profit and see what we can do.
Yeah, it's been really exciting, at least from my end, watching Zach. He's grown this really big page, and it's just different from everybody else because it's all clothes, and it's all it's not all thrifted clothes, right? There's a lot of hype like Supreme tees and everything, and it's nice and refreshing to not see the same shoes over and over again, which is what I really like about your account. But tell me about your high school experience. Maybe were you doing any extracurriculars, or you have any hobbies outside of reselling?
I went to Woodbury High School. We did hockey, baseball. Hockey's huge in Minnesota, so obviously played that. It was really just sports in general for me and just staying on top of school. And with reselling, that was another thing that took up my time. So just building that, and then sports really was my high school experience.
It's pretty dope. And I see none of the listeners can see, but I can see on Zoom behind you on the wall, you got a ton of decks. Yeah. Do you skate too, or is that just a collection you got?
No, just a collection I started. It was first Cat in the Hat deck I got, and I was thinking to myself, this might not be good. Now my wall is just full. And so
Mandeep knows I've been trying to start my little deck collection. I don't skate. I just kind of skate around, for transportation and all that. Mm-hmm. But I've started to get a couple decks, and I'm trying to hang it up once I get an apartment. But I really like the aesthetic of how those decks look when you put them on the wall like cool. That.
Yeah, I have a couple in my room as well. I personally only ride my nickel board around just to get around campus, but I have a couple of decks on my wall, and they're continuously growing. For ones I personally like.
Yeah, the decks. I think the decks are just super cool, just because you can put whatever you want on it. I mean, you can say the same for T-shirts, but then people simply won't buy T-shirts because they're ugly. But you can put a simple graphic or a super complex graphic on a skateboard, and it'll look dope no matter what. Which is, it's kind of just it's probably the most comparable thing to artwork in the world of streetwear, because it's just an empty canvas that you don't have to worry about. Because like I said, you can do empty canvas on hats and shirts, but then you got to worry about how to put it on a fit, right? But a board is just a blank board. You can do whatever you want with it. I think that's dope. So Zach, how'd you get into reselling? But more specifically, how'd you decide to focus on t-shirts and thrifting and doing all that stuff?
It was actually I don't know, my sophomore freshman year. My friend actually introduced me to Ultra Boosts, which was the hype of all Ultra Boost. That was just the hype back then. It was 4 years ago. And then probably a year later, I got into Supreme, and just seeing that whole market and how stuff would just continuously go up and up and up.
Yeah.
And then more recently, this summer, I was getting on Grailed, and I had a filter to filter out. It was mostly used shirts with $20 to $40, and I'd go on there, what was 2 times a day, and just message people on that and get probably shirts for $25 and then flip them for $50.
That's pretty dope.
And that's when the t-shirt, my whole page just filled with tees.
That's awesome to hear. It kind of reminds me of back in high school when we would play like Madden Mobile or like Madden Ultimate Team. And I don't know if you guys ever played it, but you guys know what sniping is?
Yeah, just getting really cheap cards and flipping them.
Yeah, you put like you put a filter on it for like super cheap prices, and then just like try to buy it, and then you don't even flip them. But it's kind of funny.
Madden Mobile, that was hella fun back in the day. High school, freshman, sophomore year.
Yeah. So this account that you started with your girlfriend. So I want to talk about you two first. So how did you guys even meet?
A friend I went to high school with, he's going to St. Thomas right now, kind of linked us together, and then we got to talking, and then probably like a month later we started dating, and then she got all her like kind of hype aesthetic from me, and then saw what I was doing with Supreme and reselling and making money, and she was like, I should maybe get on this too. And then we started thrifting, and actually the other day we found that Canada Goose jacket at a thrift store for $50. So
that's crazy.
That was her like aha moment. Like, yeah, we need to keep doing this.
Yeah, I never get lucky at the thrift store like that. Like never.
Yeah, that was crazy. Just finding that there, $50. Like, for real.
How much do you intend to flip that one for?
If she lets me flip it, I don't know, probably like $200.
Are you sure it's real Canada
She
Goose?
wants that for herself.
Have you guys looked into it? It's real?
Yeah, I checked it. I have two. I have a vest and then a parka at home, but I checked it. It all looked good with tags and just patches, everything. So.
Oh wow, that's sick. How often do you guys usually go thrifting?
So for savers, there's 20% off on Mondays, and I have Mondays off usually. So it's Mondays, and then Saturdays we usually go.
That's pretty tough.
Do you ever hit the Goodwill bins?
I've been trying to find like places with the bins. I've never been to a Goodwill with bins.
Yeah,
the bins? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I've been trying to go to the bins, but if to answer your question, Mateo, the bins is like you pay like per pound. So you can buy like hella shit, you search a bin, you pay per pound. It's like way cheaper, way easier to flip too. It's way cheaper.
Do you get to pick what you buy, or is it just kind of you just dump it out and then just pay per pound?
I've seen like the bins on YouTube, like with Jacob Starr Trip to the Thrifts, those videos where it's just all of them at the bins. I didn't know that's how they priced it out, but that's really sick.
I think you have to like they all wear gloves and like shit, but you have to like dive through the bins and find stuff. Like you can go through bins on bins on bins and not washed either, so you can like find like dirty like underwear, dirty like clothes, like weird ass random items. Like there's really everything. So it's like how it works. The bins is before it's sorted to send to Goodwill. So that's why a lot of these guys start going to bins, because these like resellers who thrift resellers, they'll snipe like dope ass shirts, like like old like rock and roll tees or old race car tees. They'll snipe them at the bins, and then you get them way easier because you're paying literally nothing for them. Well, Goodwill, on the other hand, like they could up the price knowing there's hype on these items.
I love those concert tees. Those concert tees are sick. Like to have them from different tours and different cities.
Like, when they're from too. It's not like how Marshalls, TJ Maxx, they just like kind of remake them without like the same kind of quality they did back when they actually dropped.
Yeah. So with this new Minnesota's Closet is what you guys call the Instagram. Doesn't look like you guys are stopping your own individual accounts. So I want to ask, like, what are your goals with this new account, and why did you decide to join forces?
I guess it's just trying something different. It's not the same thing. Trying to sell different stuff is just more variety. Someone else might like something, and then another person might be interested completely other like spectrum of stuff. So like I want to get a more variety of just like Supreme. That's why I started it. To go with that, like trying to get more affordable pieces and prices that's not just Supreme, where that's obviously going to be more expensive than maybe an older vintage tee, or like a higher quality like a North Face or anything like that.
That's pretty dope.
So have you found many Supreme items at these Goodwill, Savers, thrift shops?
Not one.
Not one.
It's all like
no.
Grail. Do you look at eBay at all, or?
No, not eBay. It was mostly Grail to start with, but now I've kind of gone to Depop. I feel like their prices are honestly better with sellers. I don't know. It's more like beat up shirts, but honestly, you can clean them and make them look just as good as any other shirt.
That was also another thing that I like that you guys do. You offer the like to crop the shirts and dye the shirts and
Yeah.
customize them,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of people don't want to spend the time nor try to learn or anything.
And that's something we actually like doing, like to bleach dye and tie dye, and you're making it unique, like a one-of-one piece that no one else would have. So I just think that's cool in general.
Yeah, you guys definitely being unique in that you do specialize in an area that a lot of other people touch on, but obviously most people will just focus on the shoes, like all the hype stuff. But to be unique brings you your own niche market and niche following, at least a more concentrated focus, which is another question that I had. This question actually came from Instagram. We always ask all you listeners to like send us questions so we can ask certain people. I had this question from @GoldenFinds. Make sure you guys go follow Golden Finds on Instagram. He's a really cool dude based out of North Bay area, like Santa Rosa area. He asked, how do you reach your target audience?
So with Minnesota's Closet, obviously it's brand new, so we're still trying to like figure out what works and what doesn't. But for Supreme, it was just finding a good price point where used tees could actually sell, and whether it's bulk or if one person just wants to buy one. So just finding a good price and like finding people who are willing to pay that price for it was something I had to figure out. Just like setting prices, trying to get the most out of it, which I feel like anyone would do, just seeing what can go and what doesn't, honestly. But
just like experimenting and then rolling with what
exactly.
works and kind of throwing out what doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, no, honestly, I really like your I was looking at your Minnesota Thrift account. Your prices are really fair compared to a lot of other Instagram sellers. What I've noticed from like buying thrift shirts on Instagram sellers, they like to up the price a ton because they're trying to sell to like hypebeast or people trying to get in the thrifting wave. But your prices are very fair, and like you're making your profit, but also giving your followers a fair price. So it's like it's a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. I just don't want to feel like people think like, oh, he's just trying to draining people of their dollars. No, I just want a good piece to go to someone who's actually going to enjoy it and wear it and make it look nice and share a cool t-shirt or a sweatshirt, crew neck.
Yeah. I would say it's the same for us too in terms of like, our goal when we're selling stuff, because obviously I want to like maximize profits, right? But if you have it too high of a price, no one's going to buy it. But it makes me feel really good when you find a personal buyer. And no offense to resellers, I mean, a sale is a sale and a deal is a deal. A relationship is a relationship. But it's really refreshing to sell to a personal buyer and then like see them post on their Instagram and like the shirt or the shoe that you sold to them. Just build a relationship, see the smile on their face. Even if it's like a dip in your profit margins, like that shouldn't really matter. What matters is, we're trying to make like people's day. That's if someone's like not happy with their purchase and I made like $50 off of it, it's not really worth it. Like to me at least. Yeah,
I was gonna add to that. Our sneaker meetup went to like last week. There was a guy that like he was like buying Supreme he was selling Supreme, and he didn't know too much about the Supreme. He was selling it for someone. And I went up and like showed him like a balaclava I had, like a black one, and like a hoodie. And he like never saw them before because like one was only released in store and one was like pretty old. And I've had them sitting in my room brand new for a while. And I was like trying to find the right seller for them. Like no one's really buying. And when he first saw them, he fell in love with both of them. He's like, I've been looking for like another black Supreme hoodie and a black like headscarf. So he like literally like it was like for me like that feeling like he really will wear it instead of it sitting under my bed. Feels nice because I gave him a good fair deal. He was happy with it. We're both happy with the trade off. So it's, like you said, it's really cool to see someone actually get used to something that you may not want.
And as far as for Eminem and where we stand on how to reach our target audience, I definitely agree with Zach with the whole experimenting thing. I forgot what episode it was on, but I had mentioned that me and Mason, another guy on Eminem, we had started to experiment with thrifting, and we just tried it. We tried to go out thrifting. We bought a couple things.
Or the hats and stuff. I remember that
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
we still have the hats. Like it didn't work for us, and I don't like. Maybe it was just a bad buy, or maybe it was our lack of expertise. But it was definitely fun, like going out and trying to find that stuff. But the fact is, at the end of the day, it didn't sell for us. We don't have that following yet, so maybe we have to slowly like start expanding into different areas. But to reach our target audience, which for us it's mainly shoes, the generic hype stuff and the recent drops that everybody's looking for, like that's what I know a lot about. And Manib knows a lot about Supreme, I would say, like, you know, Supreme and Jordan releases. And what I like to do is, like, when I sell it to someone, I think a lot of people appreciate shout outs. And when you shout someone out, let's say I sell Manib like a Supreme shirt, right? And then Manib's gonna shout out that he got a Supreme shirt off of me. Everybody that follows Manib knows that he's into Supreme, and a lot of other people who might know Manib might also like Supreme. So then all those people are gonna see my face, you know, like see our name, and then they can come to us for anything that they might need. Same thing goes for Zach. If I cop like a thrifted tee off of him, I'd be like, shout out Zach for the thrifted tee. Then people are gonna go to Zach for more thrifted tees, like, right? Because I don't like sell all those thrifted tees. And I've also said, like, in the past we experimented with shout out for shout out, where, you know, you just shout out someone's page for no reason. It's just an exchange of branding those two names on each other's accounts. And while that did grow our page, I don't think that the and it grew our page and the active followers are there, but I think the quality of those followers and how active they are and how actively they're watching us is not that high compared to those who had like willingly followed us from other sources.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So
yeah, what I realized from like, you know, like shout out was we got a lot more resellers following us who are trying to like resell their shoes. In the end, you really need more consumers for our market. But like, say, selling shoes, some resellers might buy them from us to hold or buy them for their own personals. But a lot of times, they're trying to buy them from them again as a reseller. So that kind of gets annoying after a while. So I think what's been doing really well is like reaching out, like Taylor said, like getting more consumers to start following us and growing our consumer base. Luckily for you, though, Zach, you could have resellers and consumers, because resellers would still want to buy thrifted shirts, and consumers would still also want to buy those shirts as well. So you have a way bigger market to touch on and grow from.
Mm-hmm.
Like having a circle of resellers, everyone says like you want to have a small community, you know, to like touch base with and get suggestions from, and, you know, do some deals here and there, do some trades and try to refresh your inventory, which I definitely agree with. But like Manib said, with the you know, trying to make quick flips off of resellers, it's near impossible to make quick flips off of quick flips. And I think the way to go is, if you want to make money as a reseller, you got to buy off of other, like in terms of the used market, you got to buy off of other consumers or go thrifting, like places where things are super cheap. And then when you flip it again, you got to flip it back to like the consumer, if that makes sense. Or like even a reseller who's going to keep it for themselves, because it's pretty impossible to make multiple quick flips, if this is making sense. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got to make their money, and at a certain point, the margin is just too small to be worth it to anyone. So in terms of your target audience, if your target audience is resellers, then I feel like shout out for shout out actually might work and do good. But if your target audience is consumers, you got to figure out a way, like what works for you in terms of how to get that concentrated group of people to follow you. And then it also comes to a point where, like, do you want them just to be local or national or even international? Because how you distribute your goods at that point is a whole nother ballgame. You know, whether you want to bother shipping international stuff. Meeting people like Zach is a great opportunity for us. Him being out of state, we have an extra connection out there. But for those people that are starting out, like figuring out the whole shipping process can kind of be a little overwhelming, I would say. Like when I first started shipping stuff, it was like I had so many questions, like do I have to put it in this kind of box, or like what's the right label? Like there's so many different labels and stuff. So but to start with local deals might be easier, and the way you can spread your name local deals is just like, spreading the word from a friend of a friend of a friend, and references in that way go a long way. Like when people can refer you to close friends and family that we can all trust, that goes a long way. So at least coming from Eminem, and I'm sure Zach agrees that when you guys spread our name, that means the world. That helps us in more ways than you know. So if no one else has anything to say on that, we're gonna move into a new topic, and we have some pretty big news in the world of streetwear. We all know that Supreme in the past was owned by Carlyle Group. They were bought out and owned and run by Carlyle Group. I want to say, was it 2 years or a year and a half or something like that, or like a year? I don't even know if it was that long.
Something around there, yeah.
It wasn't a super long time, but even more recently, about no more than 2 weeks ago, VF Corporation bought Supreme for I think 4 times the amount that Carlyle Group had bought Supreme for.
Is that 2.1 billion?
Yeah. So that's pretty insane.
Crazy, bro.
If you don't know who VF Corporation is, they basically own a lot of brands that you guys know and love, including Vans, North Face, Timberland, JanSport, Dickies, Reef, and now they're adding Supreme into the mix, which could mean a lot of things. We've been talking about the decline of Supreme. Obviously, Supreme is going to stay on top, but in terms of like the demand for it and the limited quantities of it, stuff that got Supreme on top, people weren't very happy when they saw that Carlyle Group was going to buy Supreme, and then they just, started to produce more of their goods, and then a lot of people who were reselling Supreme kind of dropped out of it because the margins weren't good anymore. People who were consuming Supreme, it wasn't as hard to get anymore, so then they were kind of like, not feeling it anymore. What are your guys' opinions on what the future holds for Supreme being owned by an even bigger company?
Zach, you want to start us off?
For me personally, I was actually waiting for. Have you guys ever heard of Boone? He makes the Supreme resell whatever videos. Mm-hmm. His reaction is actually how I felt. Like he thinks since they're owned by North Face, Vans, they have a better like understanding of kind of the clothing industry than the Carlyle Group. So in terms of like graphics and designs and just selling clothes in general, it is actually a better outlook than they had with Carlyle with VF Corp. So I'm optimistic, but I don't know about quantities that could hurt them.
Yeah, that's
my only like knock on this deal, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To add on that, I mean, what really got me into Supreme in the first place was I always like to stand out with what I wear and be different. I never like to buy them, a generic T-shirt you could find like anywhere. And no shame to people who do like to buy like a Champion T-shirt stuff you could buy like Pakistan and whatnot. But I got to a certain age where like I saw people wearing the same shirts I was, and I wanted to be a little different. So I tried to find shirts that no one else had, or were like harder to find. So that's kind of how I got into Supreme, and I was already in the sneaker industry, so I got into Supreme as well. Over the years, I started reselling it because I realized the market for it. Nowadays, like the shirts that used to like all Supreme shirts each season used to flip for almost 80 to 100. Now half of them are bricks. They're just producing tons of them, and it also contributes to like more people getting into reselling. But I just think over time the production just going to go up, and with VF buying it, I think it'd be cool maybe because there'll be more collabs with these companies. And maybe like some of these companies actually hold some of their stuff in store when they have a collab instead of just being on Supreme, which might be interesting to see. But at the same time, I could see them totally just like mass producing Supreme, opening way more, like they said, they want to open way more stores, especially in Asia, and all over the world. So that's just gonna make Supreme, just another brand. I feel like it's gonna be more like Bape, where if you want Bape, you can go out and buy Bape, or Kith, where you can really just go out and buy it, and they'll eventually resell each drop, or it would sell out each drop, but it'll take a longer time, and only a couple drops a year are going to actually have resell, instead of basically almost every drop.
Yeah. For anybody wondering, just a quick note. Just because they are owned by VF and Supreme has been doing collabs with Vans and North Face and Timberland have been some of the big ones. They have said that Supreme has said that they're going to continue to do collaborations with companies outside of VF. So anyone like Nike or Jordan, or they never did Adidas. I'm trying to think. Like Stone Island, they're going to come out with that like this week. So we're not just limited to VF. But one of the things that like I was super shocked with like in this past month is, have you guys seen the prices on the long sleeve box logos?
No.
The resale prices?
Yeah, like
resale?
Yeah, have you seen them?
They're under 200.
That's insane. Like to me that's crazy, because they've never been like the bandana box logos are at like lowest probably like 300, right?
Yeah, long sleeves are like 160, 170. That is crazy. These are like really, really low. I mean, even like the San Francisco box logo, I'm looking at it, it's only for 340, where like these used to go for like 500-600 easily.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. They must be overproducing it, or like they must be mass producing it, because there's no way demand in box logos has gone down. I don't think. And they've never released a long sleeve. So like for those box logo collectors, this is just something new, So why wouldn't they want to get a long sleeve? And what's most baffling to me is like, or in the past, the red with the white, I could be wrong, but the red box logo on the white shirt has done the best. But I'm pretty sure they're
a classic.
Like that's like the most iconic one, right? But I'm pretty sure they're sitting at like 160, like 170 maybe.
The white and red and the black and black were always like the two that everyone always sought after. And the colors no one really cared for as much, but now it seems like since how much they produce box logos, and they also made the crew necks last season, which also could maybe have an effect on this price, because someone might as well buy the crew neck instead of the long sleeve. You can wear it way more.
Yeah.
But like the purple tee's going for 300, the green's going for 260, while the white and the black are going for 180 and 160, and the navy like 170. So, that's absurd to see those. Like that's like an all-time low for a long sleeve, especially a Supreme tee.
Yeah, like Supreme is not my expertise, and I'm not on the inside, and I don't know the stock numbers on that stuff. But like that has to say something to like what they're doing. And that long sleeve box logo drop was before they were bought out by VF. I doubt that VF is gonna start like halting production, try to make it more limited again. But I also like what Manib said. I think you said something about having them release like the collabs in the store, or like in the other brand stores. So like a Vans collab would release like on the Vans website. That's something that I was saying too. Like maybe like Nike will still just release in store, Stone Island just release in store like for Supreme and online for Supreme. But maybe like the Vans and Timberland and North Face collabs might release on those respective websites in addition to Supreme, which again could be a bad sign of mass production. But if their goal is like similar to Kanye, right? Like Kanye wants to get Yeezys out to everybody. Like he wants to make it affordable for everybody. If that's their goal, then it's a good move. But for those people that have been like making a living off of reselling, or having some enjoyment off of the limited quantities of Supreme, it would be a bad time for those guys.
Yeah, I truly think that Supreme right now is turning into a company more like Bape, where you can go to any Bape store and they have stock on stock on stock of Bape shirts, hoodies, whatnot, just mass produced. And like you said, there is resale of some shirts, but very rarely. It's usually the collabs, and that's what seems to me like these Supreme tees are just going to be like, you can walk into the Supreme store and buy them, or you could go online and buy some of them, and like it just seems that it's just going to be to the point where if VF purchases them, like all their stores, even like Vans collabs, some Vans collabs may resell, but majority don't. I think that's what they're kind of going to turn Supreme into, and they really talked about opening more stores, so that's going to really just increase production by ton.
Have you heard like where they want to release more stores, other than like, or in Asia, but like maybe more specifically, like do you know?
I saw it was China. The demand in China.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, demand in China is huge right now. So they just want to open a ton of stores all through China, which like it's like won't affect us as American resellers, but then it'll also just affect the market. And also opening more stores in China allows for more, I think, possibilities for counterfeit products to be made and easily knocked off. So people could easily say like, oh, like, you know, there's more reselling in China because there's more product. This is going to lead to more fakes also in China. I mean, I assume.
I've been thinking like if they're gonna open up a store in the U.S., if they're gonna open up another one, where would it be?
Miami. I think Florida needs one. Chicago.
I was gonna say Chicago.
Chicago would be good.
Florida, Las Vegas.
To have a third one on the West Coast like that would be crazy.
I think I could see Las Vegas having one like on the strip somewhere. I feel like people like there are just gonna want to, you know, buy up. But the only problem is like if who's there on a Thursday in Las Vegas? Like it's like a kind of dead during the week.
Anybody else have any last comments on that, on the VF thing?
I think pieces now with VF Corp, I personally think they're gonna be more of hold items rather than the quick flips. Like you're gonna have to actually hold on to your tees probably like a season, 2 season to see actual like profit margins better than maybe like $5 or $10 right off the drop.
I don't know how certain people feel, because I don't know, Minnie, would you classify yourself as like a big Supreme collector? Or you just kind of like more of a fan?
I mean, I buy the pieces I like, and I have like I think like 3 hoodies, maybe like 10 shirts, and like every shirt, it's like I don't care what the hype. You know, I don't want any box logos. I don't have like super any hype stuff. If I get hype stuff, I really sell it, unless I really like it. But all my shirts and all my clothing is just items I think are really sick, and I never like seal on anybody. You know, they're very like, you know, even if it's just a spring summer tee or fall winter tee, like it's a tee that I personally like and I relate to. And then there's some collabs I really like Scarface, because I remember I used to like love Scarface, and like I watched that movie with my dad like a while ago, so that was kind of cool to see. Or like even the blimp, you know, the blimp was super sick. Like just cool small things like that. I'll keep those, and I have no intention of selling them. But most of the time nowadays, their shirt qualities, I think Zach touched on, they're just getting like lower and lower, and they're just getting like really lazy. So I haven't really been buying many Supreme shirts to keep, and I'm hoping, like Zach said, like in the future with a company like VF taking over, they can create more appeal to some of these shirts and clothing and make it more, I don't know, like cool, back to what it used to be, like more unique, not just like lazy, just prints thrown all over, a logo thrown on it with just Supreme on it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen like that's one of the things that I don't really like too much about Supreme is like a lot of the, especially in the last like maybe 3 years, I'd say, a lot of the generic graphic tees designs coming from Supreme are just not attractive to me. Like I'm more of a simplistic guy, but I appreciate some like nice artwork here and there, and some of it's just like not my cup of tea. When we talk about this, I think about Palace, because if you guys listen to the podcast, or I know Manib knows it, like Palace is my favorite brand, right? And to me, Palace always comes out with like super creative designs. They like to do a lot of puns with their name, like the whole Palace Cowboys thing. Manib loved that one. There was like that TV show called Dallas, and they just put like P on it, or you know, they take like screenshots from movies and like put it on their tees, like stuff like that. I like the creativity in that. And with Supreme recently, I've just seen like they're just like random graphics, and some of them are cool, but the majority of them I just am not a fan of. So that was actually a really good point, Zach, that you brought up earlier about VF, you know, being in the clothing industry. I didn't even think about that, and I should have. But great point there. I think if that's all we have to say, you guys want to move into good investment opportunities? We haven't done one of these in a while. I think we'll have enough time to cover just this one shoe, and then we'll probably have to cut it off. But the Midnight Navy Jordan 1s. Anybody that doesn't know what they look like, it's basically just a navy and white Jordan 1 with a silver swoosh. To me, very resemblant of the Eric Costin Jordan 1 SB lows. I'd say the main difference is this is one of those, like, I don't even know what CO like JP stands for. I know JP is Japan, and I think it's like a retro to the shoe along with the all silver one, the all gray one, that were originally exclusively released in Japan back in like the early 2000s, I believe. The two significant differences that I've seen on this navy pair is that the Jordan logo is kind of like a plastic glossy covering on top of the Wings logo, And also the logo on the tongue is embroidered straight on the leather. It's not like a little tag that folds over the top of the tongue, but the Nike Air is in navy and embroidered straight onto the tongue, which I have mixed feelings about. But how do you guys feel about this shoe, at least aesthetically?
I mean, looking at it, it's not bad. A couple of things I took away from it. I think if it was just the swoosh was blue or even black, it looked better. The silver kind of deters me away from buying it for personal. I can see the appeal in the silver, but I know a lot of guys aren't the biggest fan of like a shiny silver material. And it's especially like when it's a Nike swoosh stands out. It's different if it's like the back heel, like on the Ultra Boost. But I think in this one, I'm not the biggest fan. It kind of looks almost like cheap. Also, I'm a little annoyed with Jordan because they keep making like like the smoke grays. Like I totally would have bought them, but they keep making the material kind of suede, and it's like a cheap suede. It's not like good quality. So I feel like it's not. They're doing it because it's cheaper, and they know there's hype on Jordan 1, so they'll sell regardless. Which I'm a little annoyed at because I really like the good quality on the Jordan 1s, like the nice, really soft, buttery leather. So I think like Jordan's kind of get like lowering the quality a shit ton because they just know they're going to sell out regardless. So why not do it? And they're still going to sell. But overall, it's a pretty nice shoe. It's really aesthetically pleasing. If I saw someone wearing it, I definitely want to do a double take, but I can see the appeal to it.
I have a pair of these coming in, and I've seen like close-up pictures on them, but obviously I haven't had them in hand. But the leather quality just doesn't look that good.
Looks pretty trash, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even like on the toe and the side, it looks just like half-ass.
Zach?
Well, for me, I don't really deal in shoes too much, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I see a bunch of people selling Jordan 1, so I don't know right off the bat resell, but definitely future Jordan 1s have always seemed to do well. So if you're going to hold on to it, I'd go for it, but not to drop.
And especially coming from a guy who, doesn't really deal in shoes, would you, like, out of 10, what would you give this shoe?
I don't wear Jordans, so probably like a 3.
Dang. I don't rock Jordan 1s like that too much either, but I definitely see the appeal when it comes to Jordan 1s, Dunks, Air Forces. We've talked about how like it's really simple silhouette and can customize it however you want. There's so many different colorways, so many things that you can do with it, and they're pretty cool. Currently right now resale prices are sitting around, I believe, $240 to $270 depending on the size, at least for men's. Personally, from like because of the reasons that we just talked about, I think that this is going to be one of the few Jordans that is going to take a long time to go up in price. Because we had talked about on an episode with Max Shao, when many of you were on that episode, when the silver Japans came out, he was talking about how like it might be a good, like it's a hard thing to wear. So we're probably going to see a lot of celebrities wear it. And then when that happens, the price can probably shoot up, which is a nice take on it. But this one just seems like a little too, it looks like something that would just sit in stores, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it looks like something like a 10-year-old would wear to school.
So yeah, honestly, because of that reason, this is one of the few Jordan 1s that I see taking a long time to go up in price. We're just gonna have to wait for people. Like people are gonna hold them as they always do with Jordan 1s, but we're just gonna have to wait for like more of those pairs to hit the ground as people start wearing them, and then start to become more limited, as opposed to like Royal Toes or Smoke Grays or Pines or UNC to Chicago's, where they're just like a nice colorway and people will continuously buy them. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed because it's still solid. It's just like there's so many other Jordan 1s that like I would choose over this one. So
yeah.
Well, that's gonna pretty much do it for us today. Thank you to Zach for being here, joining us tonight.
For having me.
Yep. Make sure you guys go follow him, mn.hypebeast on Instagram, and his new Instagram page at Minnesota's Closet. If you guys have any questions about anything, if you guys disagree or agree with anything that we've said in this episode, please feel free to DM us. We're always down for a conversation. I don't know, Zach, you always down for a conversation?
Always.
That's what I love about this community. That's what makes this community go around. Hope you guys stay safe. Hope you guys have a good one. Signing off, it's Mateo.
It's Manib.
Zach.
And we will catch you guys in the next one.